Good evening, everyone. This is the August 26, 2020 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the commission. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tom Fallon.
Present.
Michelle Colross. Carolyn Corriveau. I don't see. Okay, very good. Allison Holmes. Nathan Rand.
Present.
Tony Romney. All right, we do have a quorum. And then there are also town officials and employees who are participating. When I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. DDIS Director Darlene Coyle.
Here.
Administrative Assistant Ginger Butow.
Here.
All right, good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Conservation Commission is now being called to order at approximately 7:02 p.m. This meeting is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current and ongoing state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting on the town's website, which is auburnlive.com, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by remote participation for the public only, although some staff are physically located in the Selectmen's meeting room in the Town Hall. Those town employees are practicing social distancing in accordance with the governor's orders. So for the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, call 1-408-650-3123 and enter access code 942-845-549. Or the public can join by computer at gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. The remote access information has been posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, those members of the Conservation Commission, employees, and members of the public who participate, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. So meeting materials in connection with tonight's proceeding have been provided to members of this body and are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. So now I'm going to turn to the ground rules for the meeting to proceed. And I'll be turning to the first item on the agenda shortly. Before we do so, let me just cover some ground rules for the effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. So I, as chairman of the commission, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. And if members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, which is me, taking care to identify yourself. And after members of the commission have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. I will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify themselves by their names and addresses only. And once I have a list of public commentators, I will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. If technical difficulties arise, I'll suspend the meeting while attempts to resolve are being made. But so far, knock on wood, we have been successful. The first item on tonight's agenda is a 7 p.m. public hearing David Massett for a notice of intent for reconfiguration of an existing parking lot and removal and restoration of a portion of the former Faith Avenue right-of-way from pavement to vegetation. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to give it to Nathan since he was it Nathan or Tony?
It was Tony.
All right, Tony, you get credit where credit's due. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, opposed?
Aye.
All right, it's a vote. Is someone here on behalf of the applicants? Mr. Bellick.
Actually, it's Mr. Scott.
Oh, Mr. Scott, I thought Mr. Bellick was on the line.
He is also.
Okay.
I'll just be listening to Mr. Scott tonight. I was going to actually, he had a conflict until about 2 minutes ago where I was going to cover the public hearing, but I am just going to sit back and watch the show.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bellick.
Thank you, Michael.
Mr. Scott, good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Yes, Wayne was going to cover City of Worcester, just wrapped up.
All right.
So we filed a notice of intent on behalf of Mr. Massett for some remaining work at 54 Faith Ave. It's actually the last piece, if you will, of what was started several years back relative to the Diamond Automotive Group's maintenance or vehicle maintenance facility out here. He, as you recall, built a new portion of Faith Avenue to the west, which is on the left side of the first sheet that you were looking at, and that was recently accepted. And subsequent to that, the planning board has accepted that road and transferred the land that was the old Faith Avenue, which runs around the right side of his building, so the bottom and right and top of the sheet here. Has transferred the land to Mr. Massett, but prior to the acceptance of the road and the transfer of the land, the town required the closing of all open orders of conditions for his property, of which I think there were 3. I believe I see Mr. Kravosky. So who just nodded in agreement that he appeared before the commission sometime in December or January or thereabouts, and those 3 orders of conditions for these properties that Mr. Massett owns were all issued certificates of compliance, which were subsequently recorded. The town accepted the new road and transferred the old portion of the road to Mr. Massett. However, when all those orders were closed, he lost his open order to do any construction over here on the wetland buffers. And the primary location is on the bottom right of the sheet, or the southeast of the building, where there was some wetland replication constructed and successfully, thankfully. And again, part of an earlier order that Mr. Kravosky closed out sometime in January, I want to say. So the work up above the wetland area where the old road runs would be to remove some of the old road and reconfigure the old road into a parking area for Mr. Massett now that he owns it and the town will not be using it anymore. And that appears on the third or fourth sheet in the set. So really the scope of work is limited at this point to, if you go one more sheet, C102 will show better, I think, or 201. So in this sheet, once it regenerates here, at the bottom right, if you will, between where it says C201 and where his building is, generally that's the wetland area that we're talking about, and the buffer zone extends up onto the parking lot where it is today, as well as the existing road. And the objective here is to eliminate some of the existing road to better funnel traffic around the back of the site and make this a more cohesive site plan, as it would connect his Cadillac dealership that's at the bottom of the sheet and cut off to this service facility that's in the center of the sheet. So we're trying to just reestablish traffic patterns, but in so doing that entails ripping out pavement and filling a portion of the lot within the buffer zone. So really the net result here is removing about 3,000 square feet of pavement, changing the grade and replacing pavement in other parts of the buffer zone, as well as as eliminating a direct discharge to the wetland, or actually into the buffer zone, just up to the right a little bit on the sheet here. There's a catch basin in the existing Faith Avenue that will be abandoned. And again, since his prior order had allowed this but was subsequently closed, rather than have him out here working in the buffer zone without any open order, we felt it appropriate to file a notice of intent and rather than a determination. So that's what we're talking about here tonight.
Okay. Well, Mr. Scott, you know, I think you've appeared before us enough to know that we enjoy taking sidewalks. So I wanted to find out if you're available. Our next meeting is going to be on September 9th. I wanted to know if you're available either this weekend. Actually, this weekend would be better because the following weekend will be
Labor Day weekend.
So would anyone be available to perhaps attend a site walk with us on Saturday? No?
I am able to. I'm sorry, I am able to attend that.
Okay. I mean, if it was up to me, we'd have Mr. Bellico, but if you want to volunteer, that's fine.
I'm more entertaining, Mr. Garland, than Mr. Scott is.
I'm not sure that's true. So, but in all seriousness, if we can be serious for just a moment, so Mr. Scott, are you available on Saturday?
Yes, I am, if you have a time in mind.
I do. How about 9 o'clock?
9 a.m.? Sure.
Okay. And what would be a good place for us to meet?
Well, it's easy enough to come down what used to be the old road and park at sort of the behind the building here. You can probably park right on the old Faith Avenue.
Okay.
So right about the area we're talking about.
I'm sure we'll find you. That would work.
Okay.
And your client is amenable to continuing then the public hearing to September 9th?
If we don't ask him, I'll say yes.
Okay.
And the answer is yes. We understand that.
Okay. Before we move on, are there any questions from members of the board regarding the notice of intent for 54 Faith Avenue? Is there any public comment regarding the notice of intent for 54 Faith Avenue? Okay, I'm going to interpret that noise as not being any interest in public comment. So in that case, is there a motion to continue the public hearing for 54 Faith Avenue to Wednesday, September 9th?
This is Carolyn. I make a motion that we move the public hearing of David Massage Notice of Intent to 9/9 at 7 o'clock.
Do we have anything on for the 9th?
At 7, I can, no.
7 o'clock it is. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Tom. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, is there any objection? All right, it's a vote. All right, Mr. Scott, we will see you on Saturday at 9 o'clock. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Bullock.
Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
The next matter on our agenda is a 710 public hearing, Gary Pike and Walter Koza, for an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 255 Prospect Street in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
That was Michelle. Is there any discussion?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, it's a vote. Mr. Kowalski.
Yes, sir, Mr. Garland.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Fine, and yourself?
Good, thanks.
Good.
So,
Thank you.
in any
Thank you
event,
for the site inspection on Saturday.
yes, I was just going to say that several members of the commission did participate in the site walk with you this past Saturday. I will tell you that it's a big site. We reviewed the wetland flags and the topography. Everything seems to be in order. I don't know if you have any other comments, Mr. Kowalski, but if you do, feel free.
The political the Oxford Conscom will be looking at their section. This is a side issue, obviously, on the 2nd of September. So we'll pick up where the rest of your members left off at flag 30, which is at the boundary of towns. Continue on with Oxford. That's my only comment. I appreciate again your inspection and listening to discussion on
Okay. Tom, do you have any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Do any other members of the commission have any comments? Michelle? Any comment, Michelle?
No comments.
Nathan, any comments?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Is there any comment from anyone from the public? Okay. In that case, there being none, is there a motion to close?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing?
All right, that was Tom making a motion to close. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Carolyn, I'll second it.
No, I think Nathan beat you to the punch, Carolyn. That
No
was,
problem.
okay, that was you, Nathan, right?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Is there any?
Good job.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, it's a vote.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Grabowski, thank you. I believe we will be rendering a decision this evening.
Always my pleasure to be in front of you. Thank you again, Conservation.
All right, thank you. Okay. The next, and in terms of other business, the next item is 6 Commonwealth Avenue. Mr. Carlino, you can unmute your phone now.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So you received our letter, correct?
Yes.
And you understand why we sent you the letter? Do you understand why we sent you the letter?
Yes.
Okay. So are you going to be filing a request for determination of applicability?
What does that mean?
Sir, we cannot give advisory opinions. When you do work within our jurisdiction, it triggers certain requirements on the part of the applicant. The form that's referred to in my August 13th letter to you is available, I believe, on the town website. You can also look at it or find it by going to the Department of Environmental Protection website. If you think you need some additional guidance, sir, I would recommend that you contact a specialist in this area. The short of it, sir, is that part of the property was in a wetland area. And even though, as you know, and as we know, you've basically cleared the entire backyard. And even if none of that work, sir, involves a wetland area, the fact that your property does include wetlands does trigger a requirement on your part to file a request for determination of applicability. And I can't really tell you more than that, sir. You do need to file with us. Until you file with us, sir, you can't do any more clearing on the property. And you can't do any work that encroaches or comes near within 100 feet of a wetland area. Do you understand? Okay.
Yeah.
So my suggestion, again, not that I'm going to give you advice, is to, if you think you need guidance, there are specialists out there that can assist you.
Who would that be?
Sir, you can go to Google and type in wetland specialists, and you'll get a list of different companies that perform that type of work.
Okay, great.
Okay? And so what we'll do, Mr. Carlino, is we'll continue this for 2 weeks. I don't know that you'll be able to get everything ready in 2 weeks, but at least perhaps in 2 weeks' time, you can tell us if you've made any progress.
Okay.
Okay?
And in 2 weeks you'll be at the same time?
Yeah, basically, right now we have one public hearing, I think at 7 o'clock. We may have other business, but if you would just phone in as you did tonight, we'll let you know when we can get to your case, okay?
And this is, what day would that be?
That it's Wednesday, September 9th.
Great, all
All right, thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Okay. All right, the next item on our other business is 385 Southbridge Street. Those are the arborvitaes at the charging station at the Auburn Mall. I drove by there shortly before coming here today, and while a number of the trees appear to be doing well, a number of trees appear to be dying. We're having it's sort of the same situation we had last year, where they're not getting enough water, it appears, and for that reason, they're turning brown and they're probably going to die. So perhaps we can send another letter to whoever is responsible for the charging station and just tell them that they need to maintain those arborvitaes because they are going to die. I can't say if they're beyond being revived, but they didn't look good when I went out there. And I recognize, and I think we all recognize, we've had a drought, but they can be maintained. I'd say for the trees that are there, about half of them are looking good and they're doing okay, but the other half are not. So perhaps we can send a letter to them and advise them that they just need to monitor the arborvitaes more carefully. Another matter on our agenda, and actually it should have been, bear with me for 1 second, please. We have received a request for an amendment to an order of conditions for 33 Sword Street. The applicant wishes to be able to wash their trucks in the driveway. Is there anyone here on behalf of the applicant for 33 Sword Street? Is there anyone here who opposes the request to amend the order of conditions for 33 Sword Street? So I'm looking at the list of people that are actually participating in the meeting. I don't see anyone for either side. So perhaps, Ginger, we sent a letter to them, correct? Mm-hmm. And you didn't get a response.
No, we did not.
Well, I think what we're going to do for the time being is table that request. I think, given the history behind that site and the relation between the abutters, I think both sides should have an opportunity to be heard. So perhaps we can just reiterate to the applicant that they need to participate and that we will not consider their request on the documents alone. And so we'll move on.
Okay.
The next item is 250, and the last item actually is 250 Leicester Street. I think the address is actually 253?
Is that?
257, thank you. Yeah, that's right, okay. So in any event, I drove by there before coming here tonight, and the tube that was leading from 255 Leicester to the pond at the adjacent land has been removed as the property owner for 255 said he would. So he was true to his word. The pipe is gone. So I consider, or I think we should consider the matter resolved. Okay. Before we address the issue of the ANORAD for 255 Prospect Street, is there any other business that you wish to discuss? Okay, there being none, we have closed the public hearing.
I do have one, Mike, partial release of order of conditions.
So, thanks. Attorney Phil O'Connell had approached me earlier about obtaining a partial order of conditions for 86 Rochdale Street. We had a discussion about whether or not it had been properly or proper notice had been given with respect to his request. And so that matter has been continued by agreement to September 9th.
Okay.
So with respect to the ANORAD for 255 Prospect Street, is there a motion? Guess not. So before we decide on whether or not to file a motion or bring a motion, do any of you want to discuss what we saw at 255 Prospect Street this past Saturday? Michelle or Nathan?
Sorry, I was looking for my button.
You looking for the what?
Button.
I hope you found
Sorry.
it. That's okay.
I did find it.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, everything looked like it was true to
The plan?
the plan. So I mean, everything looked like it was true to the plan. Period.
Okay.
And I want one of those books. I think that we should order a book, but that's on a completely side note.
Okay, well, we can discuss that some other time.
Yes.
Apparently, they're very expensive, so we'll have to talk to our accountant about that. Nathan,
Yeah.
Nathan, any comments?
No, I don't have any comments. I mean, it was very well marked. I thought Mr. Kowalski did a good job walking us through, so I don't have any other comments, really.
Okay, perfect. Tom, anything? No. Okay, so in that case, is there a motion to approve the ANORAD for 255 Prospect Street?
I make a motion that we accept the ANRAD submitted to us.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous, it's a vote. All right. If there is no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, that was Michelle.
Yeah.
Tony and
Tony seconds, all right. All those in favor say,
Tony second.
okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Just for the record, no one has ever opposed a motion to adjourn, so. All right, everyone. Have
Wonderful.
a good evening. Have a good rest of the week, and we will see you hopefully on Saturday at 9 o'clock at 54 Faith Avenue. Good
All
night.
right. Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Bye.
Bye.